for whatever's happened with regard to productivity, the rail industry has, in the last 20 years, matched that by an 8-to-1 ratio. So we're doing something right in the industry. It's 8 times better than the average of what's happening in the Canadian economy with regard to productivity. If I was to apply this to our company, for instance, in ballpark 1980s, we would have had 34,000 employees. And we would have done X in the way of productivity. The way we measure productivity is on gross ton miles, moving 1,000 tons a mile per FTE or per person. And you jump forward to 2012, and we have not 34,000 employees, we have 14,700 employees. And yet the workload that we do is now substantially greater. So the combination of reducing employees from 34 to 17, or to 14 rather, and increasing by a multitude or multiple leaves us with 5 times the productivity today over that couple of decades, 5 times the productivity of what we used to do ourselves. So we have gone down this path, and I'm not telling you because it's a great story, I'm telling you simply because it's a building block for what I want to talk about. The next slide. So we ended up this year, we just did our quarter yesterday, and the fourth quarter, and I will say that the month of January, we really have started to see the combination of the changes we've made on process and on organization and the infrastructure that we've put in place and the collaborative dialogue that we've had with our partners in the supply chain really starting to manifest itself in productivity, car miles per day, any form of workload measure. As we've said on the quarter, the financials must of course follow, and we believe very strongly that they will, but the point is it's productivity, and productivity ultimately will be measured in numbers, in dollars. In the multi-year plan, we talk about a lot more productivity. For those who aren't familiar, even though the numbers we've had are very good with regard to productivity, and obviously 8 times better than the average industry in Canada, we still have to go a lot faster. And we have the unique situation that we have literally 1,000 to 1,200 people a year, every year, last year and for the next 4 years, approaching retirement. So we have this convergence, this incredible opportunity in front of us where people are voluntarily leaving our workforce. So it's a problem if we keep doing things identically because we have to go find those people. But it's also an opportunity if we're smart enough and capable enough and quick enough to adapt to the new technologies that are available to us, then obviously we don't have to replace people one for one. We can get some improvement in that ratio. I want to move on for a second. If we want to step back and ask ourselves about Canada and productivity, things we do and do well, we have natural resources, we certainly have the entrepreneurial spirit, and we have a business bench strength. There is a lot of capability in this country, but we don't necessarily have the level of urgency, the sense of urgency to adopt and rapidly change to make ourselves, and we need competitive on a global basis, and we need to get there. We need to unlock the efficiencies, and we need to position ourselves either individually as companies or, in our case, often as an enabler of other companies. If you think about what we do, we're in the service business. Our job is to put solutions in place that enable the producers in Canada or those arriving into Canada to be really efficient in getting to the markets they seek to serve. So the more efficient I can be, I can pass and share and motivate and incent each other, we will end up with brilliant supply chains enabling the success of our partners. If I move on to what it takes to do that. So as I said, we can do a lot of things ourselves, maybe with a little bit of help of regulators, but there's only so much you can do by yourself. Because particularly in a network business, we are often interconnected with parties at one end or the other, or along the way, as the case may be. So over the course of the last several years, tribute to the people in this room, candidly, we have successfully, amongst ourselves, and I think you could probably attribute it almost back to the beginnings of the Asia-Pacific Gateway thinking and how we realized that we needed as a country to pull together the forces who are influencing our ability to become great importers or great exporters. And the Asia-Pacific Gateway, an incredible story in my personal opinion about the federal government, the provincial government, the municipal governments, the terminal operators, the Port of Vancouver, the railway is involved, and I'm sure I'm missing many others, but it is a very, very collaborative and incredible success story. Because we all had the vision, we all saw what it could be, and we all came to the party, not with the intent of optimizing our small piece, but rather with the expectation that with a full understanding of what there was to gain, we would find that balance between each other, that we would do things for each other, compensated on a commercial basis fairly to each other, and that what a great success story that is. These parties, we have agreements with each of these parties and many others. These are important agreements because it's the beginning of understanding each other's needs and each other's opportunities, and one behaves differently when you do that than you do if you're only looking at what's in it for you. Next page. So I'm going to move on a little bit and just talk about some infrastructure enhancements, because if we are to be the business partner of choice for the people that we want to work with and who choose to work with us, we must make some contribution as well. You have to be a giver as well as a taker. That's how you earn the respect and the trust of the business partners. So we've made some choices over the last couple of years. If one looks at the left-hand side, you'll see a rather substantive capital program going on the western corridor, including our coal mines. And if you look at the darker gray area in the US Midwest, the opportunities in front of us to take containers from Vancouver to Chicago, to take energy products out of the US Midwest anywhere they want to go, to move US grain possibly through the Port of Vancouver, cause us to believe that we need to spend some more capital in that area. And if you move to the north, you'll see what we call the North Line between Winnipeg and Edmonton, which had been a secondary main line. The benefits of what we are doing, of course, are for ourselves and our shareholders. They are also providing opportunity for us to participate in markets we might not otherwise. They are also enabling our customers to grow with confidence. They are also providing a redundancy and an ability to say with a higher level of confidence that when the next flood comes, and inevitably it will, and I hope it's not soon, but when it comes, we've got more robustness in our system, more redundancy, and more ability to spontaneously react and minimize the impact both to ourselves and those whom with we work. The long train strategy of 170 car potash trains is now going to roll out increasingly through more and more mines as they change their infrastructure to enable us to load that way. And as we complete our infrastructure investments across the North Line and to the west, we will increasingly have large portions of our trains moving to the 170 from the 140, 150 traditional model. We also introduced hook and haul, which is simply to say that as we arrive with an empty train, the crew arrives and the crew moves on to the next train and the crew leaves. There will be the odd mine where we do servicing on behalf of them as a standalone separate agreement, but for the most part, they have their own capabilities. So rather than have that inefficiency of multiple parties being involved, this will be a very clean operation. We'll arrive, change trains, train leaves on a scheduled basis. Very efficient from our perspective. In both cases, companies are making substantial investments, and it's similar to the coal model. It's very important that they had the confidence that we will put the capacity in place in advance, which we are doing, which will enable them to successfully grow their business. When we first signed that contract 7 years ago, we were moving about 2.5 million tons of potash. Last year, I think we moved about 9. They have plans for 15, and maybe more. So there's a great opportunity, even though we're going to give up a little bit of market share, a great opportunity to enable their own success. And by doing so, we'll participate in 80+% of a rapidly growing market. A great opportunity for us, a great opportunity for them. We're delighted with this outcome. Productivity-wise, in addition to the things I've spoken about, because of the investments in the North Line, 8 out of 10 mines, those are the most westerly mines, 8 out of 10 of those mines will go to port 8% shorter route miles. The productivity, 8% shorter, less fuel, less wear and tear, fewer cars because they'll turn faster, fewer locomotives, fewer crews. That's productivity. That's going to happen. And that productivity accrues to the shareholders of Canadian Pacific Railway. We have a software called Tram 2 that we've been working on for 3 or 4 years with science and with the endorsement of Transport Canada, we ran 10,000, 12,000, 14,000 foot trains. Productivity. But what's the other benefit of that? So when we work with Michael and our associate, TSI and our associates at DP Ports, I know everybody believes the ships arrive every day perfectly on time. Most of the time that's true, but occasionally something happens. And even at the terminal operators, occasionally something happens, high winds. The point I'm getting at is we're not going to get that business delivered to us in nice 10,000 foot pieces every single day. It's going to come and go and move around. We are not going to be the only surge tank in the industry, but we'll do our share. And these 14,000 foot train capabilities provide us the ability on any given day that if the terminal operator can give us 14,000 feet because a surge has built up, we can run 14,000 feet. And on days that we can't, we can run a smaller train, 8 and 10 and 12. You need to think about those dispersed locomotives as a combination of trains. So we zip them together and we unzip them. So if we've got 5,000 feet to Chicago and 5,000 feet to Toronto on any given day, we can run a 10,000 foot train to Moose Jaw, unzip the train and run 2 5,000 feet trains to their destinations. Flexibility, productivity, an opportunity to work together and penetrate new markets. So I want to finish up with just one comment, and that is that these relationships are important. The collaboration is critical. It's very hard at the front end until you can challenge each other and understand each other and deliver. That hard work delivers the ability to build trust, and from trust comes the opportunity to really get to what it's going to take to make each other successful. The last point is this, that each of us in what we do, we have to earn and have earned over time a social license to operate our business. We have responsibilities to each other. We have responsibilities to many others. It is absolutely critical that in our drive for productivity, which is essential, that we keep ourselves in balance with regard to the social license that we have earned and that we must earn and re-earn every day. It's not just what I say, it's what I and every one of the employees of Canadian Pacific do. So when I go out and visit on the property, I make it so simple for people purposefully. And I say this, look, we have this incredible franchise. We run through national parks. We run through pristine mountains. We run beside streams. We run through urban centers. And ladies and gentlemen, as employees of Canadian Pacific Railway, I hate to tell you this, despite the fact that we're the safest railway in North America and have been 5 years running, I think it's 11 of the last 13, it is inevitable that something's going to go bump in the night. And what's so important is that in the DNA of these people, they understand that in our drive for productivity, we will never compromise the fundamental beliefs that we have. So I say this to them, it's a protocol. I say this, it's really important that if an event occurs, no matter how small, and something's dripping somewhere that shouldn't be, that could damage a waterway or endanger a person, you take care of yourself first. You take care of the people around you. You take care of the communities. You take care of the environment. And if you've done that, and you've done that well, then and only then will you run a railway. It's something that our company is very proud of. It's something that you should expect of us and that we expect of each other. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming. Thanks for listening.